Hello and welcome to The Subtle Way. My name is Anna and this is my little buddy Maui. I'm an energy medicine practitioner and yoga instructor, so I'm bringing these two things together in these subtle energy yoga practices. I still have more offerings online with live classes, so you can check those out at The Subtle Way, as well as private one-on-one sessions I do. So today I want to do a practice that can be done laying on the floor or laying on the bed. I want to demonstrate a little bit more about the bed, especially if you're someone that's really in the middle of the throes of chronic conditions and it's really hard to get up and move around and the fatigue is particularly overwhelming. And this is also a great practice one can do in the morning to help support getting the body and the joints moving as well. All right, so let's get started. So you can have a pillow for the head if you like. And then I have my trusty couch cushions that I use to help give me a little extra height when I need it. And today, just bringing it under the knees for a little extra support. So that helps take pressure off the lower back. So you can use that or not, depending what you feel like at the moment. And then as you come back onto your back, you may want to just lift up the hips a little bit just to make sure your lower back is nice and flat and you reduce as much stress on the lower back as you can. All right, so just bring your awareness into your breath, into your body, tuning in, making any little adjustments you need to just to bring yourself to a bit more comfort and ease. And as you inhale and exhale, bringing your awareness into feeling those sensations that happen with the breath through your body, begin to cultivate an attitude of curiosity. So this is a time of being able to step out of why you're in this condition, what the stories are around the situation of your life right now, and just be curious about, oh, so this is how this feels, or this is how that feels. So when we create a bit of curiosity and step back and focus on just being aware and present, we sort of soften our edges to the situation and conditions we're in, which can help support just softening into the nervous system as well. So being aware of that inhale and exhale, not trying to control and change it, just being with whatever arises. If there's a need to yawn or sigh or take a sudden inhalation, just let any of that happen. And you may want to just gently tuck your chin a little bit just to lengthen through the back of the neck. And then we're going to move into using a little bit of control in the breath, beginning to deepen the inhale, lengthening the exhale. So if you're only breathing into your chest, see if you can breathe a little bit more deeply, expanding your rib cage and the belly as you inhale, and just slowing down the exhale. So you may want to aim for both the inhale and exhale to be the same length, or you may want your exhale to be a little bit longer than your inhale. And as you work with lengthening this breath, beginning to bring in the image of as though there is a wave rolling over you as you inhale that comes and flows all the way down to your feet. And then as you exhale, it rolls on back all the way up to the top of the head. So you may find it's a little hard to imagine a wave because it's like a wave of awareness flowing through your body. So just seeing if maybe it finishes at the abdomen or the hips or the knees. And then wherever it finishes, turning around and bringing it back up. And you might find it dissipates before you get to the top of the head. But just playing around with imagining this wave and using your awareness to move up and down the body. So where the mind goes, energy flows. So bringing internal movement of energy as you sort of run a wave of awareness up and down your body. So just playing around with this. The more you do this practice, the more accessible it will become. Sometimes we have a little bit of difficulty feeling parts of our body or feeling our body. So you can just work with in your imagination and just imagine. Everybody knows what a wave looks like. I hope you've been to the beach or a lake and seen a wave splash around. So this is a very nice, gentle, smooth wave. Or you may see a wave that's a little bit choppier or ragged and things, and as you go through you may see this wave calming and settling down the more you move it up and down your body. You may want to play around with this, and you may just move it over one small part of your body, especially if there's an area of particular pain or tension. So you can allow that area just to maybe have some energy running through it. So if there is, say you had a really sore hip, you would want to start above the pain or discomfort and go past the pain or discomfort a little bit. So you're not just focusing on such a small area, you're doing bigger sweeps and movements. So this is a really great thing to play around with when you wake up in the morning or before you go to bed. I use it sometimes when I'm struggling to get out of bed and it's cold and I just want to stay warm and cozy, and it helps me get my energy moving, get myself motivated to get up. It can help wake me up a little bit. If I do it at night, it can help sort of send me to sleep. And then we're just going to let that go. We're going to move down into our toes and begin to get a little physical movement through the body. So beginning to just curl your toes backwards and forwards. Sometimes we don't pay that much attention to them. And if you can articulate each toe individually, you can work with that, or maybe do some little waves. So just starting to get some movement through the feet and those joints. Energy in particular gets stuck in the joints. So it's really important to get movement through there to help things flow. Then moving from the toes and coming to the ankles and doing circles with the ankles. So these can just be a really tiny circle of the ankle. There's no need to lift the foot up. You can just do this with the foot on the bed or doing both feet at the same time. And then change direction, circle the other way. And then bring the feet back to the center and then pulling your toes towards you, giving a little stretch through the front of the shins, and then pushing the toes away, lengthening, giving a little contraction to the calf muscles. So moving those ankles back and forth just to open and out, waking up. So our calves, so like the soleus underneath the calves is like a second pump for the heart, helping to move blood from the feet all the way up to the brain. So especially if we're dealing with a lot of fatigue, we're not moving very much. So this is a really good way to help support the circulation just by doing this, even if you're just lying down or sitting on the floor. This is really powerful just to get that movement going when very little is being able to be moved. Okay, letting that go. And then we're just going to pick up our right leg, bringing it into the chest. You can bring the hand over the top or underneath the knee, giving it a little bit of a hug. And then bring the hands underneath the knee, so behind that lower part of the thigh. And then just going to inhale, lift the leg up a little bit and exhale down. So we're not trying to keep going with that, with the breath. So we're not trying to stretch out our hamstrings. We're just getting movement through the knee. So just have your awareness on the knee and feeling that start to move around. And then we're going to lower that leg down and we'll go to the other side, picking up the other leg, giving a little hug into the chest, hand above or below the knee for that, and then bring hand below the knee if it's not already, and then inhale, lifting that leg up and lowering down. So we want to make these movements very slow and mindful. That's why we work with the breath. It can be really easy just to mindlessly wave the leg up and down, but we actually have to learn more control over our muscular movement when we go slowly with the breath. And then lowering that leg down, and then we're going to pick that right leg back up again, bringing a gentle hug into the knee once more, then bringing your right hand on top of that right knee, and then we're going to circle the knee. So here we're working to move the hip, so moving that femur in the socket, or the very top of it. So getting motion through that ball joint. So our hips can get really tight when we're not moving around much. And things get very stagnant through there. And then go the other direction with it. And then coming back to center and lowering that leg down and picking up the other leg. Give it a nice little hug again. And then just bring the left hand on the knee and circling that hip. So your hand works as a guide. There's a little bit of engagement through the thigh muscles to get that movement going through the hip. And then go the other direction. Then coming back to center, little hug and release. And then if your feet are flat if your legs are flat on the bed, just bring them up a little bit so they're just a slight bend. My cushion gives me enough. And then just moving the thighs, knees backwards and forwards away from each other. Just getting a little bit more movement through the hips. And then coming back to center. And then if you do have a pillow there, you're going to need to move it out of the way so we can bring the feet flat to the floor. You may need to adjust your lower back a little bit, make sure you're nice and comfortable. When you're on a soft surface, you might need to do this a bit more than if you're on the hard surface of the floor. And then we're just going to bring our awareness into our hip region, and we're going to do some movement with the pelvis. So take a nice deep inhale. You can try and really breathe right down into that belly. And then as we exhale, pulling that belly in and really trying to contract it. And we're going to tilt the pelvis backwards or forwards, bringing our hips up towards us a little bit. And then as we exhale, you can come back to neutral, or you can tip as you inhale, tipping the hips a little bit the other way. So as you exhale and contracting the belly, the hips tilt forwards towards us. And as we exhale, the pelvis, I did it again. I think I took a pause. Hope I recorded. Okay, so we're going to bring our awareness into our lower belly and the pelvis. So we're going to just take a nice deep inhale, expanding the belly. And then as we exhale, contracting the abdominal muscles to pull the lower belly down in towards the lower back. And then going to get a little tilting motion of the pelvis towards us. And you can use your feet to help support the pelvis tilt, but we're not lifting in any way. And then as you inhale, coming back to neutral as you open, expand the belly. This might be enough for you, or if it feels good on your lower spine, you can then tilt the pelvis or the hips away from you a little bit, which you might feel a little bit of pressure in the lower spine. So be really mindful of that. As you exhale, engaging the lower belly, pulling it back towards the spine and tilting the hips, the pelvis towards you. Exhale, either coming back, inhale, either coming back to neutral or going a little bit further. Exhale, contracting the belly, pulling it in towards the lower spine. Inhale, going up back to neutral or a little further. Just go with what feels good in your lower back and the hips. So just getting some nice motion through there, going at pace with your own breath. And then just coming back to neutral. And then you can spread the arms out into a T position. And then we're just going to do a little windshield wipers. Drop both knees towards the right. Inhale, bring them back up again. Exhale over to the left. Inhale, bring them up. Exhale to the right, looking to the left. If you want to bring some movement into the neck, if that's available to you. Inhale, bring head and knees to center. Exhale over to the other side. So if that doesn't feel good to your neck, just don't do that. Exhaling down, inhaling back up, exhaling down, inhaling back up, exhaling down, inhale back up. Last one, exhaling down, and then coming back to center. And then we're going to do a little bit of a movement to clear out the heart and the lungs. So for this one, you may want to, if you've got a pillow behind your head, you just might need to release that just to give a little bit of a lower neck. And we're going to bring our right arm out to the side. And we can lengthen our right leg, or you might decide to keep both knees bent, see what feels right. But we'll keep the left knee bent and the left foot on the bed just to act as a little support. We're going to do a little bit of twist, a rolling through the shoulder. This can feel really good if you're lying on a flat surface, but we're getting a bit of a twist through the upper spine, movement through the shoulder, as well as clearing out the heart and the lungs as well. So bring the hand into the center of the chest. And then just going to take a nice inhale. And then exhale as you drag your hand across the shoulder and down across the inside of the right hand. Inhale, bringing that left hand back to the center of the chest. Exhale, off and down the arm. Inhale back to center. So that left leg can just work as a little bit of a lever as you exhale down the arm and inhale, coming back and rolling back onto your back. Exhaling over to the side and inhale back. And this last time we're just going to exhale off the hand and then just shake the hands a little bit and come onto your back once more. And then you can swap the legs over. So right knee bends and right foot flat on the floor. Right hand on the chest, left hand out to the side. So we're just going to do the other side. Take an inhale, exhale, taking that arm all the way off the opposite hand. Inhale, sliding back up to the center of the chest. Exhaling out. Inhale, back to center. Exhaling away from you. Inhale, back to center. Exhaling away, last time, and then just giving a shake off of the hands and rolling back into a neutral position. Then you can bring your pillow back if you like, and then you can bring the other pillow, so the one under the head, and you can bring the other pillow under the knees, and we're going to finish off in Shavasana. So you can bring your hands palms facing up either side of the body, feet a little bit away from each other. Bring the awareness back to the breath. And we're just going to use the breath and awareness through the different parts just to help soften and relaxing. Softening and relaxing with the breath. So come up into the head space. Take an inhale, just being aware of your head region. Exhale, soften and relax. You might want to take a couple of breaths here, using that inhale to gather your awareness into that space. Exhale, soften and relax. Moving down into your neck. Inhale, and then softening and relaxing with the exhale. Then coming into the shoulders and the arms. Inhale, bringing awareness into that space. Exhale, soften and relax. Awareness into your back. Inhaling into your back. Exhale, softening and relaxing. Releasing all that tension and stiffness and tightness with the exhale. Inhaling into the back. Exhale, soften and relax. Moving down into your hips. Inhale, awareness of the hip space. Exhale, soften and relax. Coming down into your legs. Inhaling awareness. Exhale, soften and relax. Awareness down into your feet, noticing your feet. Inhale, and then on your exhale, just soften and relax the feet. And bring awareness into your whole body. Just letting yourself more deeply soften, relax, release tension with each exhale. So you can stay here for as long as you like. And when you're ready to bring a little movement to the body, you can bring your knees up. Roll to one side. And slowly make your way up to a seated position. So thank you for joining me with this practice. May you find deep healing, peace, and recovery. Namaste.